Welcome back, friends. And with summer right around the corner, today I wanted to break down some of the most important pharmacological interventions that you should make for your summer cut, your summer shred, to look your best, to be your best, to feel your best. And we're going to kind of go through all of it. Now, there's a lot of debate. I already made the SLU PP332 video on which fat burners are best and which one should I use and which one should I not use. So I hope this video gives you a really good overview on who should use what for their summer cut and kind of, what peptides are going to be best for your specific situation. Now, this video is not going to touch on things like diet or training or cardio or sleep. Guys, these are, of course, the building blocks of a proper cut. Okay, it goes without saying that you need to be doing all of these. Just because I don't talk about them in the video does not mean that you can just ignore these and use these kind of pharmacological aids to your advantage and kind of bypass the hard stuff. So please make sure that you are using, your diet, your training, your cardio to be the main drivers of fat loss. And then again, you kind of work these in just to kind of help things out. But that being said, guys, let's dive right into some of the key, pharmacological fat burner interventions that I think you should be using for your summer cut. Okay, first things first, injectable L-Carnitine. To me, this is really a no-brainer. Injectable L-Carnitine is cheap, minimal side effect profile, not a lot of issues with it. The biggest problem, the biggest drawback is that it has to be injected, which means that, some people don't like to pin. It does have bite to it. It does have that little bit of pip. I've noticed most carnitines do, even if they're brewed really, really well. What I would say is, start at like 200, 300 milligrams, work up slowly. And it does have to be pinned every day. So if you're okay with pinning though, I think injectable L-Carnitine is one of the best and just most cost-effective tools that you can kind of put into your summer cutting stack. It makes so much sense for pretty much everybody that, again, I don't really see a key reason on why you should not be using it and should not be deploying it during your kind of summer shred. So again, super good. Really the only drawback is if you don't want to pin, or if you hate pinning, or if you're like, oh, I can never pin, I wouldn't use it. Now, when this video is released, I don't know if it'll be out yet, but there's a really good topical yohimbine and carnitine blend from, I believe, Aether Chem Labs, which has been solid. So on days I don't want to inject the carnitine, I'll typically just use it topically with the yohimbine blend, and we'll talk about yohimbine later in the video. But again, it's going to, boost that metabolic rate. It's going to give you a nice little nootropic effect. It's going to give you some more energy. It's going to allow for better kind of cardiovascular output. To me, it's really good. It's a no-brainer. There's no major side effects. It doesn't raise your heart rate super high. You can really leave it in during your whole cut. I think for me, that's a really, really solid one. Okay, so the next kind of piece of pharmacology that I think is going to be important is the GLP-1s. Now, to me, retatrutide, however you say it, is going to be the best. At the time of making this video, I think it's just, I have a video out on this about why it's the best, but to me, that's going to be the single most effective one. And for me, GLP-1s, yeah, they're more expensive than carnitine, but they're probably some of the most effective fat burning options you have on the market, especially retatrutide. I think it's just an amazing compound. And again, I think they're so much better than the typical stimulants like the clenbuterols in that they're very effective, but they come with much less side effects. In fact, GLP-1s have been shown to do things like lower inflammation, be neuroprotective. Again, they're not perfect drugs with zero side effects, but they are definitely healthier drugs than slamming something like clenbuterol or a bunch of stimulants. So GLP-1s, they're super effective. They work really, really well for most people who take them. Again, they curb your appetite. They kind of encourage better eating habits. And then the retatrutide is cool because it has the glucagon receptor agonism, which is going to also raise up your metabolic rate, which I think makes it a super, super effective kind of option, super effective compound for you to kind of utilize during your summer cut. Especially if you guys have appetite-based issues, these are going to be essential tools, okay? A lot of people, they think, oh, I'm going to go take Clen, but they still have this roaring appetite, and then the clenbuterol is not nearly as effective. So what these do a great job of is they help to kind of bring down that appetite. They allow you to eat in a much more controlled manner, and that's where I've noticed they've been the best for me, is my diet is just so much more under control when I'm on retatrutide, right? I'm not binging. I'm not eating a bunch of food. I don't have the desire to go get McDonald's at 1 in the morning. I just have a lot more control, okay? So that's kind of where I think they're going to be most effective. Yes, they're a bit more expensive, but really they're going to be one of the single most effective options when it comes to burning fat, if not the most effective option. Okay, number 3, let's talk about Melanitan II. Now, Melanitan II is going to help with fat loss, via decreasing appetite a little bit. It's going to improve your metabolic health a little bit. But to me, the biggest and most important reason why I would put it into your summer cut is because you look infinitely better when you have that Melanitan II tan, and just, I mean, a tan in general. And I think Melanitan II really optimizes the tanning process. Now, again, it does come with side effects. I've made tons of videos on it, but use it wisely. I like to use it with a histamine blocker like Dramamine, because it makes me very red. It makes me very nauseous. So I've noticed that Dramamine really helps with the nausea and the redness a little bit. And I also use it before bed. I have noticed, though, that as you use it and as the weeks go on, you definitely adjust to the kind of redness that you get from it and kind of the nausea. And so that's always good. But guys, I've noticed that the tan you get from Melanitan II, it just is so night and day for your physique, right? When you're tan and when you look good and when you're outside in the sun, it just looks a million times better. And that's why I think it's so important. Yeah, it's not going to shred you up super effectively, but guys, this summer, please make sure to get a nice tan with your physique. Don't do it excessively. Don't, damage yourself from the sun. But I think it's very important to kind of leverage, tanning, because it's going to make you look leaner. It's going to make the muscle pop more. It just looks way, way better. That's why I think Melanitan II is kind of an important compound to have in during your summer cut. All right, so for the next group of compounds, I think that are going to be important is all of the mitochondrial boosters. So developing a good mitochondrial stack is going to be very, very important this summer. Now, however you want to do it is up to you, right? There's SLU-PP332, there's methylene blue, there's MOTS-C, there's NAD, there's 5-amino-1-MQ, there's tons of things you can use. You can stack them, you can mix and match. I would say for me, the single best stack that I've used is probably MOTS-C plus NAD plus SLU-PP332 plus methylene blue. Yeah, it's a lot, but I've noticed on that stack, I just feel so good mentally. I have amazing energy. And what I really like about these during summer cuts is that they help to increase your endurance kind of capacity. They're going to make cardio much, much easier for you. You're going to feel better mentally on it. A lot of them have some great anti-aging properties. So you're going to your skin, your hair, your nails are all going to look better. They're going to grow faster, which I think is super important. And even again, as those calories kind of start to drop, you will probably notice that you start to normally run out of energy and get lethargic and tired. With a good mitochondrial stack, this will not happen, which I think is very nice, because at the end of the day, the last thing you want on your summer cut is to get very lean, and then you kind of are so mentally just in the dirt or in the ground that, now you can't enjoy life. You can't go out to the beach. You can't have fun because you're like mentally basically dead, right? So a good mitochondrial stack, I think, is very, very important for this. I think it's crucial to kind of optimize a stack for this. And again, you can mix and match. You can do it how you want. Yes, this stack is going to be more expensive and it's probably going to be less effective than something like a GLP-1. But again, I still think it's very cool. If you have the money to spend, I would spend it. I would invest on it. I think it's an amazing investment, and it's an amazing kind of component to have in your summer cutting stack. Okay, so the next thing that I think is going to be important is going to be a cardio booster now, or an endurance booster, I should say. Now, a lot of the compounds I've mentioned, like carnitine or the mitochondrial boosters, will help with this, so kind of doubles over. For me, I think something like ITPP, DADA, or Cardarine are really your three best options. Again, depending on how much you want to spend, ITPP is my favorite, but it's very expensive. DADA works really well. It's a bit cheaper. And then Cardarine is great, but it has the cancer risk. But something to boost your cardiovascular endurance, I think, is important. Again, make sure to use it properly. I always tell people, if you start Cardarine and if you do 45 minutes on the stairs at level 10 pre-Cardarine, and then after Cardarine, you still do 45 minutes on the stairs at level 10, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, okay? But at the end of the day, okay, it's, to me at least, it's going to be very important to have cardio boosters in play. It's going to make your cardio easier, and it's going to allow you to do a bit more cardio, which I think is going to be good. Again, don't fall back on cardio to make up for your terrible diet, but I still think those are a very important class of compounds to kind of, implement into your summer cut. Okay, the final thing during this summer cut that I think you should be implementing, and by the way, guys, this is not an everything video, because again, if you want a full stack, you can head over to my website, go to the coaching consulting page and sign up for a consult. But the important thing that I think you should be doing as well is optimizing your hormones, okay? Chances are, if you're watching this video, you're probably enhanced, but make sure your thyroid's dialed in. Make sure your testosterone levels are dialed in. Make sure your growth hormone, your IGF is all dialed in, okay? Because if your thyroid is not dialed in, if your thyroid is low and you have a low thyroid level, right, your hypothyroidism, okay, all of these things like carnitine or like the mitochondrial boosters, they're not going to help. Now, some of them I know can, increase thyroid activity, which is great. But again, address these problems head on, okay? You should make sure that from a hormonal and blood work perspective, you're dialed in, okay? Your gut's good, your blood work's good, your hormone panel is good, your inflammation's under control, you're sleeping good. These are going to be the most crucial things during your cut that a lot of people don't pay attention to, okay? Because if you have super high inflammation, your gut's screwed up, you're not sleeping, you're not going to lose fat nearly as efficiently as if you had all of those locked in. So make sure your blood work looks good, your hormones are all dialed in, your sleep's good, your gut's good, and guys, you will have a much more successful cut, I promise you. All right, friends, so that is a few important kind of pharmacological interventions that you can make during this next summer cut, and I think if you implement these, guys, you'll be in a really good spot. These are some of kind of my key ones that I think are going to be super important for the summer. Again, there's tons of things you can do for your pharmacology, and maybe in this video I didn't mention what's going to be best for you. But again, there's so many that if I talked about every single one on video, it'd become a very long and very, probably boring video. But with that being said, guys, I wanted to say thank you, take care, and have a good one. And if you need anything else, you can head over to biohackingu.com. We have a great members area. We have a great free area, tons of stuff over there. It literally has everything you need. If you're going to comment and say, what about this? It has it. Just look through it. With that being said, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you, guys. Take care, and have a good one.